Hey there, I'm Mark Helsel, and there's a good chance the reason you're watching this video is because you heard that there may be a coaching opportunity in the program that I'm getting started. So that is true. There is a coaching opportunity, and the purpose of this video is to save you time and me time by laying it all out as clearly as I can in the next 15 minutes so you can make a decision or at least have a very good idea if this is something that you're interested in or if this is something you're not interested in. And from my standpoint, because we have a lot of interest in this, I don't personally want to have to explain this over and over and over and over. So I figured I'll do one 15-minute video, and I've got some notes in front of me. I'm going to lay out what I think are the biggest differences in how we're going to go about things at D1D National. So let's start there. D1D stands for Division 1 Development. That should tell you a lot already about what type of program we're going to have. So let's start with number one. I've got 6 points here in front of me. I'm going to go through each one as quickly as I can. The first one is, yes, we are hiring coaches to coach our D1D teams across the country. Now, the opportunity to coach with us is in an age group. So you can decide or pick which age group you want to coach, but you would end up being the coach in that age group year after year. In other words, you wouldn't come in our program and follow with a team. So if you have a son in the program and you know you want to coach him for 5 years, that's probably not going to work here, because we're looking for coaches who become experts in a certain age group, okay? Kind of like a high school coach and a JV coach, okay? 2 different age groups serving 2 different purposes, okay? So in our model, we're going to have a 13U coach, a 14U coach, a 15U coach, a 16U coach, and a 17U coach. So again, if that model's okay with you, you get to pick the age group that you want to quote unquote apply for, and we're going to try to find the best guy for each age group in each state. Okay, so already out of gate, that's, as you would know, that's radically different than what most travel ball programs are. They've got a lot of dads coaching, going through the process with kids. That's fine. There are a lot of advantages to doing it the way I'm talking about doing it from a developmental standpoint. The biggest is kids need to learn how to play for multiple coaches. You know, if you think about it, if you played for a coach at 12 years old and played for the same coach till you're 17 and then you went off to college, that could be a culture shock, okay? So there's a developmental aspect to this, the way we're doing things. Okay. So coaching staffs in each state, that's what we are hiring. Okay, number 2, unlike the mega programs out there, we're not trying to be the biggest. And I'm not here to bash other programs, but we want to be small and we want to be elite. Okay, and what I'm talking about is talent level and discipline level when I say elite. And the best analogy, and I hope I don't offend people when I give you this analogy, but you got the Army and you got the Special Forces. You got the Navy and you got the Navy SEALs. Okay, it's a much smaller group of the population. The disciplines and the rigors and the demands and the requirements and the competition to be a part of something that elite is incredible. And obviously, the people that get to do those things are very special. They are. They are in the vast minority of the population. So my vision for our program is that we are in the vast minority of the population. In other words, we're not going to have hundreds, if not thousands of teams like other programs do. And if you can fog a mirror and stroke a check, we've got a roster spot for you for the low, low price of $3,500. I'm sure you can hear the sarcasm in my voice. I'm not a fan of that model at all. It's not that I don't want opportunities for all kids. I just love that you've got to work really hard to do extraordinary things in life, and there's competition for that. And even when you get what you want, you might not get to keep it if you get lazy or complacent. So again, back to, the coaching staff. If you're coaching a 13U team, those kids on that team are going to have to impress the 14U coach for next year. Otherwise, they're not going to make the team. So there is no along for the ride in the model that we're talking about. Okay, number 3, financial. In this model, there's really 3 components. You got the parents who are footing the bill for this stuff. You got the coaches, and you got the organization. Okay, I will tell you, without giving you all the secret sauce, the 2 entities that are going to win the biggest in this financial model are the parents and the coaches. The coaches are going to be extremely well compensated, and the parents are going to enjoy player fees below the industry average. I'm not going to say a lot more about that other than to say I'm not a big fan of expensive travel baseball. Okay, just organizations just jacking up the prices, huge markups, making a killing, and taking anybody under the sun. Okay, again, I'm trying not to bash the travel ball world, but we all know what it has become. Okay, but we're not going to contribute to that. So our financial model will be really good for our coaches and really good for our parents. Okay, suffice it to say, we'll be okay, the organization, but we're not looking for a windfall here financially. 4, the schedules. As I said, Division I development stands for Division I, meaning we're preparing kids for the next level in everything we do. Okay, now I'm not saying they have to play Division I baseball, but let's face it, most of the kids want to play Division I baseball, so we're going to do everything that we can do to prepare them for that. And part of that is the schedules they play. For example, if we were to go around the state of Pennsylvania, where I'm from, pick up the best 13-year-olds in the state, and then go play local tournaments and win every trophy and go 48-2, would anybody be impressed by that? I used to say to our elite teams, don't be so impressed that you beat a local team. It's totally set up differently. So what I envision is that we will have elite level teams, but we're going to challenge ourselves in elite level events. Now, there's some national tournaments that will be challenging, but the idea of going around the local tournaments, beating up on teams, I have no interest in that model. So what we're going to do more than that is play on college campuses, even with the young kids. Now, a little side note right here. The college coaches know all about what I'm talking about because I've been communicating with them for the last 2 years on bringing a program to the market that is really geared for them as well. In other words, a program designed to groom kids for them. If you get behind closed doors, or even if you listen to the podcasts that I'm doing with these college coaches, they are so frustrated with what's going on in travel baseball because it's not preparing the young kids for their level. There's a steep learning curve for these kids when they get to the college level, if they even get to the college level. So playing on the college campuses against other elite level competition is a way to combat what I call the tournament madness. I got to be careful how I say this, but another entities that are doing really well financially from this giant thing called travel baseball are the tournaments. Let's be honest. Look at the prices that you pay to play in these tournaments. Not saying we're not going to, but we can do some things very differently than what the masses are doing and get a lot more out of the games we're playing. Okay? So schedules will be different. They will not be mandated or dictated to you. You as a coach will get to create your schedule. What I'm saying is, as an organization, we will present you with opportunities to play on some really great college campuses against some really great competition. And that's what our players are going to need. Okay, number 5, a strong developmental mindset, meaning, winning is important. The effort to win is gigantic. But again, we're not trying to win trophies so we can strut around and tell everybody we're the number 2 ranked team in the country and all this stuff. It's a bunch of hype. What we want to do is develop our players for the next level. And so sometimes it might even mean we lose a game because of our developmental mindset. So you have to, as a coach, you have to balance that winning and development, and we want to make sure that we have a healthy balance of that. Along the same lines, the recruiting aspect of this. I want to be able to tell parents, look, I know your son wants to play at LSU, at Florida State, and we're okay with that. He's 13 years old. We're not gonna squelch his dreams. We're just gonna get him ready to get in front of those guys, and when he's ready, we will have the ability, which we do, to put Florida State, our guys in front of Florida State if that's where he wants to go. Fortunately, and I'm not here to brag, it's not about me, but when I've been doing this for almost 2 decades, I know all these guys across the country. And I have credibility with them, so it won't be hard for us to get our guys exposure. But before they get that exposure, we want them to be developed the right way. So when Florida State comes to watch this kid play, it's a great commercial. In other words, he's ready. His audition is there, and he's ready for it. Okay, that's on us as coaches. We got to get people ready for that. And then 6th, I think I told you there are 6. Here's the 6th. If you're to coach in this program, you are going to have to be ready to hold high standards, okay? High levels of discipline, because at the next level, it's all about discipline. And I'm talking about profanity. We're going to have a no profanity policy. We're going to be on time. That's a success skill. We're going to have to hold people accountable to that. Attitudes and body language and parents' behavior. And I'll come back to parents here in just a minute. But, it's one thing to say we have standards, it's another thing to actually enforce them. So I'm being honest with you as a coach. It's a lot harder to enforce the standards than it is to just turn the other cheek and go, kids will be kids, or parents are crazy, or whatever, and just, give them a pass. If you're going to coach in this organization, we can't say one thing and do another, okay? We just can't. So you have to be ready for those disciplines, and we're going to have a fair amount of them. So that's a good transition into something really special that as a coach, I think you're going to like. And that is this. We are going to have a complete training program for our coaches, our players, and our parents. And just think about this. If you were running a corporation, you would have a set of standards, everybody would get training, and then they would be held to the standards that they were trained, right? But that's not the way it is in travel baseball. Maybe somebody hands out a sheet of paper and says, here's the rules or policies, and that's the last you ever hear about that. And then you see people doing crazy things, and you wonder why isn't anybody saying anything about this, okay? In our program, we're going to have people well trained and agree to the standards. That way, we don't fight about them. In fact, I used to say in my last program, you came for the standards. Like, that is what attracted you to the program. Now they apply to you, okay? So again, the disciplines are a big part of this, but you have to train people on what those disciplines are, and that falls back on me. Now, I've been doing this for a long time, so I'm well versed at how to train people, how to set up a great system of accountability, and that way you as a coach probably don't have to talk about this that much. Now, you do have to enforce it, but you don't have to, it's not you inventing the disciplines and the policies. They are an organizational wide thing. And again, you have to be okay with that. If you're a coach that likes to throw temper tantrums and drop F-bombs and you see nothing wrong with that, okay, it's a free world. It just won't work here at D1D because a policy that we have is no profanity, okay? So I'm pretty good at being really clear on what this is and what it's not, and then just letting people decide if they want to be a part of it. So let's finish up with the vision that I have for this program, because Stephen Covey says it best. Begin with the end in mind. In other words, if you don't know where you're going, any road will do. Okay, and then you don't even know where you are, okay, if you don't know where you're going, right? On the other hand, if you clearly understand what you want it to be before you even start, it's a lot easier to hit the goal, okay? So let me give you a vision. First of all, I envision a program that we all are extremely proud of. We are proud of the standards that we keep. We are proud of the disciplines. We are proud of setting a standard for this world out there, okay? We stand up to that challenge instead of, do what everyone else does, okay? So we're all proud of our body of work. That's number one. Number two, I envision a program that college coaches are flocking to find their players. And I've had enough conversations with these college coaches to tell you they will, because they're looking for players that have all these attributes that we're talking about, okay? They have the talent, they have the disciplines, they have the work ethic, they have the support of parents, the trained support of parents. They have the academics weaved into that, something I haven't talked a lot about, but a high academic standard. In other words, all the things that the college coaches are looking for, we are, okay? So that's pretty good when there's a program out there that becomes a source of talent year in and year out for these college coaches. So that's another vision I have. Another vision is the success rate. If I were to go out and publicize what the success rate of all these big programs are, in other words, what percentage of their players are actually getting to play college baseball, what percentage are getting to play Division I, it would be astounding at how small the percentage is. Thousands and thousands and thousands of kids wearing the same uniform, very small percentage of them getting on to the next level. What's that tell you? They're taking a lot of money from people that aren't going to get what they want. I don't want that. I don't want to do that. What I want is to be very selective with who we bring in the program, help groom them, develop them, educate them, and then move them on to the next level at an epic rate. I'm talking 90+% of our players moving on to the next level. You can achieve that when you stay small and stay elite. You cannot achieve that when you decide to get the calculator out and say, wow, we can make a lot more money with a lot more teams, i.e. a lot more kids that aren't going to get what they want, okay? That's one of the big problems I have with travel baseball. They're getting promised things that aren't real, okay? So we're not going to do that. We're going to be very, very disciplined with who we bring into the program. So hopefully that gives you an idea of how different this program is going to be. Now, if you haven't looked into my background, again, I don't want this to be about me, but if I were you, I would want to know that the person leading the charge has the background and the talent and the credibility and the respect and the experience to actually do what I'm talking about doing. And I do. When you've been doing something for 20 years, actually plus, we rose up to the top of the food chain. I was running and founded one of the top programs in the country. So with over 500 success stories. So again, I'm not here to blow my own horn, but as a potential coach, I would expect you to want to know what my background is and what are my credentials. Why do I say what I get to say? Okay? I'm 61 years old. I've seen it done, and I don't want to do it the way I've seen it done. I want to do it better than it's ever been done before. And I need to find guys that share the same vision. Okay? So, there you go. Now you know what this is about. I'm sure you have a lot more questions, but now is the time where we can start talking on an individual level and get all of your questions answered. But if any of those 6 things, discouraged you, or, you don't want to be in a program like that, then that's okay. I haven't wasted too much of your time or mine. Okay? So, thanks for watching. We're off to the races. We're forming teams. I'm hiring coaches right now. So the time is now to be a part of this and do something fantastic. All right? Thanks for listening.